Welcome to the Financial Literacy Talks. We're speaking today with Silvia Barcellos, a researcher from the RAND Corporation. Welcome, Silvia.
Yeah, thank you.
Your project is Improving Immigrants' Access to Financial Services. Can you tell us a little bit more about your project?
Immigrants are a growing part of the American population, but when compared to natives, they are much less likely to be banked, to hold credit cards, to be homeowners, to participate in formal retirement savings program, so to participate in the financial market as a whole. And the aims for these projects are to understand a little bit why, the reasons behind these differences between immigrants and natives, so which are the barriers that immigrants face when participating in the financial market, and also given these barriers, if we can improve existing financial education interventions to target them better at immigrants' populations and to make them overcome these barriers.
So, can you tell us some of your main results from this project?
We first look at whether socioeconomic differences between immigrants and natives are able to explain these differences in financial participation. And we find that even comparing immigrants and natives with similar levels of education, income, age, we still find that immigrants tend to participate less in the financial market than natives. We also find that immigrants who have been in the U.S. for longer periods of time, they're more likely to participate and to hold more sophisticated financial assets, and that there's an important role of trust in financial institutions and of knowledge on these immigrant-native gaps. On the evaluation of our financial education intervention, we find that the intervention had very large effects on the knowledge, on financial knowledge. So, for example, immigrants who received the intervention, the educational materials, they were more likely to correctly answer questions regarding savings and investment strategies. They were more likely to know the rules of retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, and they were much more likely to correctly do interest rate calculations.
So you talked a little bit there about the effects of the education interventions being different for different populations. Is there anything more that you found?
Yeah, we find that Hispanics, immigrants, are really a group that benefited the most with this intervention, maybe because they had the lowest level of financial participation to begin with. We also find that language is an important issue. Respondents who said they knew English well or very well, they were much more likely to understand and to respond more positively in terms of knowledge given the intervention, which makes sense given that the intervention was all in English. Yeah, so those were the groups that were most affected.
Can these interventions affect financial behavior?
Well, I think they have the potential to affect financial behavior. In this project, we don't actually were able to measure actual financial behavior, but we did measure intended financial behavior, and we find that the effects of the intervention were not very large on things like the self-reported probability of opening a 401k if offered by an employer, or of like learning and opening an IRA in the future. But I think more work should be done on that.
So what are some of the other questions that lie ahead, and some of the things that you'd like to do next relating to this project?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of scope for learning more of what specifically designs of these financial education interventions are the most effective. Some of the lessons we learned from this project are that first, translation, when you're looking at immigrants, is a very important step. Also making the materials as interesting and entertaining as possible to catch respondents' attention. And of course, the broader question of how you translate short-term learning gains from these interventions into more long-term learning gains, and also ultimately to financial behavior change.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us today, and we look forward to reading more of your work in the future.
Thank you very much.
Very enthused about it.